Hey guys, today we'll be learning how to solve a wedge factor calculation. Simply put, a wedge factor is the ratio of the dose with the wedge in over the dose with the wedge out, and it can be thought of as a measure of how much a wedge attenuates a beam. Technically, a wedge factor is defined at a depth in water for a certain field size at a certain SSD. There are also off-axis considerations in clinical practice, and so in reality, they're quite complicated. However, today, we'll just focus on simplified wedge factor calcs. Always use your intuition. Intuitively, you know that if a wedge is in the way of a beam, you need more juice to get dose through it. When delivering the prescribed isocenter dose, say 300 centigrade, you need to increase the MU when using a wedge. If you don't increase the MU in the plan, but you treat with the wedge in, the patient will be underdosed. On the other hand, if you count for the wedge in the plan, but you forgot to treat with the wedge in on the machine, the patient will be overdosed. Now that you can logic your way through, let's try an example. First, because 4,000 centigrade is being delivered in 20 fractions, 200 centigrade is delivered per day. Use intuition here. Because the wedge was left out of field 2 during treatment, you know the patient was overdosed. Therefore, the dose given on that day must be higher than 200 centigrade. The weighting is 80-180, which means that each field is contributing 31%, 38%, and 31% of the daily dose. If you find the dose relative to 200, that's 62 centigrade, 76 centigrade, and 62 centigrade respectively. In field 2, again, the wedge was left out. The wedge factor is the dose with the wedge in over the dose with the wedge out. So 0.682 equals 62 centigrade, as we found earlier, over the dose with the wedge out. Solve for the dose with the wedge out, and you get 91 centigrade. Now, the question is asking for total daily dose, so you must add the dose from the other fields, the 62 plus the 76 centigrade, to the 91 centigrade, and you get 229 centigrade total. Circling back to our earlier logic, 229 makes sense because the patient was slightly overdosed that fraction with the wedge out. And that's how you approach wedge calculations. Check out Dose Grid for more examples. Links are down below.